No one saw this coming. The NHL has two new elite goal scorers in Dylan Guenther and Ross Colton, and this is going to play a big impact on their respective clubs going forward into this regular season, as well as a big impact on the league when guys are lighting up the stat sheet like they are right now. And we're going to break it all down for you guys coming up on this episode of Hattrick HQ. And as you can see, we have a new face here on the channel. We just want to give a warm welcome to Darius here on the channel.
I'm excited to be here. It's a new beginning here, and I'm ready to talk some NHL hockey, and of course, two budding stars in the league. I mean, one of them is a little bit older, but I think they're really coming into their own this season specifically.
Yeah, I'm just, again, a huge welcome to Darius here. Obviously, you might have seen his face before. He's on a few other channels around the network here in Leafs Digest and Rangers Digest, so we're very excited to have him here on the channel. But with that said, let's jump right into the first topic of the video today, which is he is shocking everyone. And of course, we are talking about none other than Dylan Guenther. I mean, this guy was named first star of the week for week 1 of the NHL season, where he had 5 goals in 3 games for the hockey club. Up the hockey club. I mean, come on. This team has been so exciting to watch to start the season. And as we said here, he has scored 5 goals in the first 6 games for Utah this season, and has been providing that extra goal scoring spark for this team that we didn't suspect once they moved out of the desert, which is great to see. And if we keep going through here, he is one of the only players in the league with a multi-goal game to start the season. And finally, he did sign an extension, and what a steal they got for how he's playing right now. At 8 years, $57.14 million. I mean, this guy has been an absolute stud for this team, and we got, and his GM, Bill Armstrong, actually gave him some very high praise here, where he said Dylan is elite and every aspect of the game. He goes on to say he's very highly skilled, and they're just very excited to have him in the team with the young up-and-coming stars that they do have, like Clayton Keller, and the list goes on. Logan Cooley. They have so many great prospects there. And Darius, I mean, it's just great to see the hockey club get off to a hot start.
It is. It is. The no-name team is officially in the league, and they finally have, it looks like, a superstar. Obviously, their captain, Clayton Keller, but now they have another budding superstar in Dylan Guenther. And I think the biggest question for Utah, and I'm going to call them Utah, not Hockey Club, but the biggest question for Utah coming into this season is where were they going to find the scoring? We know Keller can score, but are they going to take that next step? They made a couple big trades too, right? Like Sergachev coming in. Who's going to score for them? And I mean, yes, Guenther has put together some pretty decent seasons. I mean, last year, splitting some time with Tucson and obviously the Arizona Coyotes at the time, he had 35 points in the NHL in 45 games. So you could see that something was budding. And of course, this year, 6 points so far in 6 games. So it looks like this is a guy who can be at least a point a game player, maybe even a 90-point player going ahead into the future, especially as the team improves. So obviously, you saw some sparks of some things, when he was coming out of junior, but now it looks like he's finally really putting it together. And I mean, solid season last year, but again, played some time in the AHL. He's a full-time NHLer now, brand new team. The energy's crazy in that building.
Yeah, I mean, Darius, it seems like the move to the higher elevation has really gave these guys an extra edge to their game. It last season in Arizona, Clayton Keller stole the show for this team, and it wasn't really looking promising for that team. But now, ever since moving out of the desert, it seems like this team has an extra spark in their game, especially Dylan Guenther. I mean, he's a former 9th overall selection in the NHL draft, so it's great to see this guy finally get that extra, edge to his game and play with a little bit of a chip on his shoulder after signing that deal to now be a great goal scorer for this club. And I really hope that he can keep this up, because I want to see the hockey club compete. I've been watching a lot of their games. They're one of the most exciting teams in the NHL right now, just because they have such a young roster, like the Montreal Canadiens, I'm going to say it. But I think this team, it definitely has a very bright future ahead, and it all starts with Dylan Guenther popping off here this season.
It does. He's been fantastic for them so far, leading the way, right? He's not the captain, but he is leading the way in scoring, and he's been a very valuable piece to the team. And again, you want to perform after you sign a contract like that. Like, that is something that Utah is really committing to, and we didn't see that with the Arizona Coyotes too much, right? Besides Clayton Keller. So they're really, dishing out a lot of money in turn for him. They believe in him. He's returning the favors so far this season. Like you said, a young, exciting team. And I think, once they eventually get that name next season, then they're going to make a push for the playoffs. It might not be this year, but they are making a very, exciting run of it so far in this young season. And I think Dylan Guenther is a main reason for that.
Yeah, 100%. I'm going to be locked in on Utah this year. They're such a fun team, and I really hope they continue the success they're having here to start this season. But we're going to move on to another guy who is playing unreal for his club, and that is who else but Ross. That is Ross Colton. I mean, this guy has played phenomenal here to start the year for the Colorado Avalanche in the absence of Jonathan Drouin, Lehkonen, Nichushkin. This guy has really put the team on his back and led the way to their success so far early on, and it's just great to see another one of these guys. He's a little bit older, in 28 years old, kind of step up for his team in times of need, and it's just always great to see, guys who you wouldn't suspect jump off the stat sheet and just play their hearts out here at the beginning of the season. And we just bring up a screenshot here. It says obviously he might be the 4th or 5th choice on the Avs top line, but Ross Colton has looked great this season, and there's no doubt about it. He has looked phenomenal. And if we keep going on here, they're saying this is a quote from Ross himself. He says he's just trying to get open, and he's just trying not to get in the way. I mean, it's hard for him not to get in the way when he's scored 6 or 7 goals here to start the season. Obviously, they say here that Colton's goal scoring surge could present an interesting bit of roster flexibility in the months. Obviously, adding that depth scoring down through the lineup once these guys like big names like Nichushkin and Lehkonen do come back. But if he keeps going on this pace right now, I could see this guy keeping himself up in the top 6, no doubt about it. And we also did get a quote here from Jared Bednar where he said he's shooting the puck well. He's getting himself in those scoring areas. And one thing that has really caught my eye with just watching Ross Colton this season is it seems like he has that 1TX factor from NHL 25 in real life. Once he finds that spot, Darius, I mean, he's putting it in the back of the net.
He's finding the sweet spots this year. And Ross Colton, for me, is a guy who, the next man up mentality is Ross Colton in a word, I think. In that, sentence, everything that encapsulates is Ross Colton. Because again, he won a Stanley Cup with the Tampa Bay Lightning. He's scored a Stanley Cup winning goal in the NHL, right? And he didn't play the entire series up until that point. So he's a guy that I think, really fills that role properly and well, and he's doing a great job of it right now. And, the Avalanche are dealing with so many injuries, not just injuries, so many things that, they have a lot of forwards out right now, and they need somebody to come in, step up and play. It's a hard task to play with Nathan MacKinnon because he's so fast, so skilled, right? And he's doing it so well right now. And you know what? Scoring a goal a game is not bad for Ross Colton here to start the year. And the Avalanche are making a push of it. They want to win another Stanley Cup, right? They're dealing with a lot of things right now, but not a great start to the year for them either in terms of goaltending. But Ross Colton has been a very bright spot for them. So, again, the next man up mentality, that is Ross Colton, and he's doing a great job of it right now.
We've seen a lot of players step up early on this season. We just talked about Dylan Guenther, who has been doing a phenomenal job with it. Cole Caulfield, a guy who is stepping up for the Montreal Canadiens this season as well. But now Ross Colton, a guy who kind of emerged out of nowhere. Like you said, he scored that Stanley Cup winning goal and put his name on the map a little bit, but then kind of slid back a little bit until now, where he's in Colorado, playing with big names like McKinnon, Rantanen, so many great players in their lineup at this point in time. He's just adding his name to that by scoring so many goals. He finds his spot. He can find the corners. He has a great shot, and I think he's going to continue the success this season. I can't see a world where he isn't finding a way to get open in those scoring areas to not score goals. He just seems like he knows where to be on the ice, picks his spot like an Ovechkin, and can put it in the back of the net from there.
Yeah, there's no reason for him to slow down this year, right? Like really hot start so far, and he's playing with great players. And if he continues to play this way, there's no reason that the Avalanche would demote him, right? There's no way that he's going to move back down the lineup. So I don't see a reason for him to slow down this year. And I think, you know what, the last couple of years, like you mentioned, a lot of people have thought of this player as maybe a third liner, maybe a second liner on some teams, or a guy who can chip in here and there. And he's a really good checker and has the experience, obviously, of playing in the Stanley Cup final and playoffs with the Tampa Bay Lightning at the time. But now that he's been given this opportunity, he's running away with it, right? So why? I don't see any reason for him to slow down, and I see no reason for the Avalanche to move him around the lineup. It sounds like he has, found a spot on that first lineup there, and I think he's going to continue to do what he's been doing this year.
Kind of reminds me, I know it's going to sting for you, Darius, but it reminds me a little bit of a Zach Hyman, a guy who left his team and has picked it up. I mean, not on the level of Zach Hyman, who just come off a fantastic season last year, but it is comparable because he left Tampa Bay, came to Colorado, and has just excelled there. Obviously, he's playing with star-studded talent in Tampa and star-studded talent in Colorado. That obviously helps his case here, but I think this guy is a phenomenal player. He's in the prime of his career right now at 28, and like you said, I can't see this guy slowing down. But we want to hear your guys' thoughts down below in the comment section. What are your thoughts on Dylan Guenther and Ross Colton here to start the season? Love to hear your guys' thoughts on that as well. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel. It's a new era here on Hat-Trick with Darius on the channel, and I'm just really excited to have him here and talk more all NHL stuff to you guys, and we appreciate it if you guys stuck around with us here. But as always, I've been your host, KC, alongside my co-host, Darius. We'll catch you in the next one.